Guys, Gamer here, and today I want to tell you guys about that information that just dropped. And the reason I wanted to cover it now is because now we have official information, and I know a lot of YouTubers every day have been breaking down the trailers. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to kind of be brief on the situation. So this whole last week and up till today, this guy named CyberLeak has managed to get himself a build of the game. Whether that's a development build or the full build, I don't know, but it's very likely it's a full build of the game. Um, Rockstar has confirmed that these videos are legitimate and these leaks are real, and there will be spoilers online soon, and to kind of keep away from them. It's like a heads up to the community. So why is this important to understand? Well, one, it's a warning to everybody watching this video. I would not check Instagram, X. I would be careful because with scrolling and stuff like that, you may accidentally see a spoiler. Just kind of keep a heads up on that. And then a lot of people want to experience the game fresh and new. This is just an active warning. It's also why I'm making this video. Number two is I wanted to go into why this is happening. What's the background of this person? What's their intention, their goals? And lastly, I want to share my thoughts of the general leaks, not show any actual talk about the content, more about my overall thoughts. So let's start with number one. So what does this announce? This is officially a confirmation that basically somehow, some way, this hacker has legitimate copy of the game, right? In some way, shape, or form. Because you can't produce that kind of footage in a closed space. You have to have a proper working build of the game. So this confirms it. So let's talk about the second topic. The whole deal with CyberLeak. What's his goals? Well, his big goal is to make Rockstar Games switch to physical discs, so you can own the copy. It's not some digital license, because if you buy the actual the copy of the game, you pre-order it, it's actually not gonna have. It's only gonna have a digital code inside. It's not gonna have, and it's gonna be tied to your PlayStation account permanently. Now, he is really against that because if you follow it up with the Stop Killing Games movement, you know, anything that has where you cannot own your games perpetually is basically a license, and that can be revoked. And we've seen that with the games like The Crew 2. When their online servers go down, they discontinue the game. Or let's say many YouTube videos, movies, like if you look at Amazon, if you look at cloud streaming services, like for example, people have owned games on Stadia or Amazon, people would get their games revoked. They would lose access to their games permanently even though they purchased it. And the only reason these companies can rug pull people from their own content is because they signed up for a license. And with PlayStation, it's even more strict. If you didn't touch your PlayStation for 2 years, they have the rights to automatically delete your entire PlayStation account, even all the purchases, and you cannot recover it. That is the whole premise of this whole issue. So that now is to get into the motivations of the hacker. So what has he been doing? Well, for the last couple of days, he's been leaking gameplay footage of the strip club, of going to the beach, things like that, destinations, features of the game early. And he's published these on his website. And what he's been doing a crypto rug pull, meaning that what he wants to do is have people buy Bitcoin to vote in polls for what's to get leaked next. And so he can essentially use this money either profit himself or make a group of people that can hack gaming companies and extort them for money to pressure them into making their games a physical copy. And it's also a way to pressure Sony from averting their decision to make all the games from digital only to physical. That's what he wants. And the end goal is two things: money, and to make games physically owned again. Because if you don't know, Sony is going to be ending disc production at the end of 2028. This means all new games will be only tied to the PlayStation Store, meaning you have less options to buy. And on top of that, you have the PlayStation Sony tax, meaning that games cost typically higher on the store. Used games, you can't even sell your games, meaning that no matter what, it's tied to you. You can't let your friend borrow it, you can't sell it. These are the problems that comes with a digital only space. And the game consoles have been trying to push it with their digital only consoles. So at the end of the day, what they want, the corporations, Rockstar's end goal is to work with Sony so it's try to justify to make all games digital. Because GTA has one of the biggest pre-orders already in history. They say it's reported of like 30 million or something crazy. And there has not been any actual gameplay posted yet, aside from just normal trailer content. There's only been 2 trailers, and tomorrow there's going to be a big reveal of the new GTA gameplay experience. So that's kind of what's going on. So my personal thoughts that's part 3. My personal thoughts on the whole situation is that it's history repeating itself. There's always been a bit of a battle between the hackers and corporations. But also, people, normal people like us. So what's happened is that corporations have been changing the rules for themselves so that they can protect themselves and make justified changes. So, for example, the Stop Killing Games movement has failed in the European Union to reverse this tract. And usually, the European Union is very good about implementing and pushing policy change around the world. So, for example, that's why Apple iPhones have USB-C. It's an open standard. Now, because European Union is not enforcing this whole thing of owning physical games, they don't understand it. They don't see the benefit because they say this is where the market's heading anyway. So that's their justification. So, in my opinion, the stores are like a monopoly, and that's causing the whole problem. When you don't have options to purchase your games in another fashion, that's going to piss players off. And so now, how is this tied to the past? Well, if you look in the past, Sony is not has had a fair share of scandals with gamers in their community base. For example, when the PS3 came out, it had a feature called Other OS. And Sony, as a preventative measure to make sure that players can't hack their consoles, so they removed that feature, and it was an advertised feature. So there was class action lawsuits, there was hacking and data breaches. That's why there's a whole Sony scandal of all these PlayStation accounts leaked on the internet. And it was massive. It was a massive problem. And what happened is it forced Sony to reverse course. They had to bring the feature back. They had to reimburse all the players. And so what's happened has always been a back and forth. Sony's always tried to stay on the edge of being silent and taking away things from consumers. For example, in their own interests. For example, Sony used to really, when Xbox One came out and the PS4 came out many years ago, the big thing about the Xbox One versus the PS4, they even made a video of it, is where a guy was handing a physical game to another person. The reason it was a joke on Xbox because at the time they were trying to do DRM, meaning that the game had to be online, your console had to be online 24/7. You had to be it was tied to your Microsoft account. You didn't own the game. It was a license. That was the whole thing. And what's happening is, ironically, PlayStation's now in a situation where they're the market leader and they're abusing that position to force the industry to go digital. And so this is their way of trying to turn that knob. And so what's happened is that since players are losing their access, to what they used to have, which was cheaper games with the console and you buy the membership, prices of games and all these things have went up. And instead of the tariffs coming back to the players, they've absorbed it as profits. They have absorbed PlayStation subscriptions higher. They have made it harder to game. They've made games more expensive. All of this because they are the market leader and they can dictate any rules they want. And this what ends up happening is now they want to control how people buy games on their platform. They want people to only buy their platform so they make a 30% fee on every game bought. So they just want to further their profits for their stakeholders, for their executives, and for their company at the expense of everybody else. And they can do it because they are the most, they're like 70% market share in the console space. So that's the reality right now. That's the reason why this is all happening. If you kind of look back, the motivations of hackers come when there's extreme distaste against a corporation or an entity or a country. You see that kind of thing happen. This has kind of happened before in the past. So I'm not saying I condone anything CyberLeague does, but I understand it. But I'm not also saying he's good as well. I mean, it's all illegal, and it's hurting the movement more because it's making the movement associated with him, which makes people who are fighting for the movement look bad and harder to convince, like lawmakers into doing the right thing. Because they can point to this incident as owning games is a bad thing because they can point to this sort of thing. So in a way, it's all backfiring. Everybody loses here. This guy really just primarily probably doing this for money. He's made his crypto so you can't sell it, so he controls that. And so what he's gonna do is he's gonna sell all of his stuff, but he has to. You can't do a big sale without the government knowing. So he can't pull his money out right now. He's in terrible trouble. Right now, Rockstar's private investigate Take-Two's legal team and investigators, and I'm sure the FBI and all these different agencies around the world are trying to find this guy. And they haven't. They found the last guy, Teapot Uber hacker, I think because he was already in a known area. He hacked Rockstar with a Fire TV stick in a hotel room, but he had too many trails on him. This new hacker has managed to do something unexpected. He's figured out and you never know. The case may be is that guy may have given him the build of the game. When he leaked the footage of all of GTA 6 beta footage, it may be very possible. Maybe very possible he also gave the person the build of the game. It's possible. I don't know if it's true, but it's possible. I don't know. But whatever's happened, the GTA 5 source code is out there. So just to make sure, a lot of these intellectual properties have been extremely lucrative towards hackers. So but it's a high stakes game because if there's a multi-billion-dollar corporation that's gonna do whatever it takes to find you. And it's an uphill battle. So, it is what it is. This person will be found and brought to justice. And I hope Rockstar, you really help reverse their decision. They do physical discs. Sony does physical discs. And I hope things just get better. But right now, things are getting worse. So that's my overall thoughts of that situation. Now let's talk about the actual gameplay. So gameplay, it's very impressive, I have to say. I mean, shoot, I was if I describe all of it in one word, it'd be realistic. I haven't seen any game before, other than flight simulators, meet that kind of level of realism. And I'm talking at a physical level. It's like if you had to put a world, a mini version of a state in a video game, that would be GTA 6. And my friend, I was talking to him last night, and he told me he lives in Florida and how realistic it was. The leaks, the trailers, how true it is to life. And I have to say, that's very fascinating because it's like a mini Florida. So yeah, I'm overall extremely excited. I I've seen the footage. It's only made me more excited. So I have no doubts. And seeing how it runs, man, we're not gonna have a cyberpunk situation for sure. Even if the game didn't have the best story, the foundation of the online multiplayer is gonna be strong. The world is so live, it's has so much density, the amount of plants, the amount of people, NPCs, the objects, everything is so well articulated and detailed. It's like Red Dead Redemption 2, but in GTA. If you had to describe it, compare it. So I'm really impressed. Like the water, man. Water in video games is very hard to do, and they managed to do it. Like the water is realistic. It kind of crashes onto the beach. The sun reflects so well. It's just such a beautiful game that I can't even explain. Like if you told me this was real, I would have thought this was AI. But since it is real, obviously, I can believe it. At first I thought it was all fake, but it's all real. And I just want to give you guys a heads up. So, and what's funny is TGG. He was I now know why he was silent. So he's been silent because he actually got to go to see Rockstar North, and maybe got early access to a trailer. So I'm curious. He's gonna share his thoughts tomorrow. So pretty fascinating. Well, a lot of the YouTubers that kind of went on tangents every day, breaking the leaks down, I'm sure Rockstar Games doesn't want that. Rockstar has already said in their press announcement here, they don't want people to be spoiled. So if you notice YouTubers that aren't talking about this and they're pretty silent, I would suspect they're probably gonna make a video of their documentary tomorrow from Rockstar Games. So that's all I want to give a heads up on. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.